Hi everyone, this is Joanna and Chris again, and I'm going to just apologize right now for my appearance. Hopefully, I look somewhat like normal, but if I look a little disheveled, it's because I haven't had a shower yet or anything this morning, and we had some interesting dreams that occurred leading to some information that we wanted to talk about. We were going to wait a little bit and potentially record it, but then let's call it the harassment began. So, was this going to be a part of just galactic history or galactic information, or
I believe this is like more like hmm, yeah, I would say galactic history, but
because it's
also
what they've been doing, so it probably is a
yeah,
galactic
yeah,
history.
yeah.
So, anyway, so we're doing this really impromptu before we're actually ready because oftentimes uh, when we go ahead and record and get this information down, then some of the harassment begins to diminish because they cannot then destroy the record that we've created. Interesting enough, the way we'll just start talking about this is that Chris and I has had totally different kind of dreams. When we woke up this morning, I kind of felt pretty darn rested finally because I've been pretty tired lately. And we were just sharing our dreams and experiences. And then we realized, wait a minute, this actually may be all related. And we honestly haven't mm, really gone through the complete and utter understanding. So we may even talk a little bit about hypothesizing how this has affected others, not knowing exactly yet because this information is so fresh to us. And then the harassment began very, very, very quickly this morning that we decided we needed to go ahead and do this. So we'll hypothesize some at the end as well about what we really think this all means, and maybe come back at a different time when we feel we can potentially confirm something a little bit more concrete.
Hmm.
So anyway, again, we woke up this morning and we were just telling each other about our dreams, and then it was kind of this moment of, wait a minute, this really could be related. So I don't know if you want to go first. You want me to go first?
Actually, yeah, I'll do mine. This is a very I want to say weird, but it's not weird for us. I knew what I was looking at was legitimate, and this is how this went. I was on a campus, like a university or a school, and I had on the clothes I was wearing was more like a t-shirt, like a regular undershirt, and a bathing suit, like the shorts, like you have when you go to the pool. And I was walking around. I ended up going into somebody's dorm room, and I ended up misplacing my wallet and my phone, which there I identify as more my signet, or what other races could identify me as. Because you kind of do that here on Earth. You have your phone and your wallet, and you kind of identify yourself with that. Like if a cop would stop you, you have your ID, or you have your phone to call somebody, and that has a signet as well. So in that sequence, that's how your brain would interpret your signet as wallet, cell phone, keys, stuff like that. And so it's interesting that vanished. And I knew I was supposed to, in this sequence, attend a funeral. Those were the instructions: attend a funeral. And from whatever was on my phone, I had gotten a text or something prior to losing it that said attend a funeral. And this school was you had the school building, and then through the campus, and then there was a graveyard further in, where there was like a walk road between, and then like a fountain or something, and there was a graveyard. And there was it was like how you would see in New Orleans, where there were tombs underneath too, the same type where you would go underground, like a cat or a catacomb. Catacomb is the correct word. What took place was I went around, talking with different individuals, seeing what could be done. And I went into a room, and I ended up having missing time. somebody's dorm. And then I knew I was supposed to attend a funeral still. So I went into this graveyard. It was nighttime by that time, and saw these the men had hoods on, the women had regular clothes on, which then they stripped off. And whenever there were sex acts committed, there was like this ritual that was going on. It was a conjuring ritual that was going on. And whatever that energy was doing, it was drawing in somebody to either possess all of them, all the people in the hoods and the women, or just to bring them in. And I noticed that when these beings, they then possessed these all the people. There were these energy wisps, like, and they possessed the people. And I saw them. They saw these faces. They had these blue dimpled like faces, like you took a ball peen hammer to something's face, like one of those leather tools, and went through somebody's face. And their eye sockets had no eyes. It was just empty eye sockets, kind of like a weird ghostly zombified type figure. And it was bright blue, like skyish blue, skyish to royal blue, kind of fluctuated in there. And I determined these things were what I called soul eaters. Like they would take the soul of the person and just eat it and take over for them. They had to occupy the space that the soul once did, but then they couldn't remove the soul, so they had to slide in. And I managed to get away from them and go back up to the surface, which I determined I was further underground at that point. I went up to the surface. It was still nighttime. And I went back over to ran over back over to the campus. And it was like the Akashic was trying to tell me where this place was, but I don't remember the school location. It was like the earth was trying to tell me where this place was located and what was actually going on. So I believe it was the earth giving me this information. It was stored in the Akashic. Because these activities had been going for so long that some of it was echoing. And went to that same dorm room where there were a couple of guys that were in there this time that I felt were more of a vampiric sort. These two men, but they didn't really do anything to me. They went into a separate room, and they had long blonde hair and everything, and they and blue eyes, looked German looking, and or Swedish looking. And they went into another room, and then I fell asleep again. Woke back up, it was daylight, but the sliding door that was on the room was multiple layers. It was like maybe 20, 25, 30 layers thick, and I kept having to slide them open. And I knew I had been imprisoned in there by somebody, or isolated. I shouldn't say imprisoned, but quarantined. So as I would learn more information, and I went out, and I opened the door, and I went outside. And I saw a different group of people. There were merchants and everything out in the courtyard area, all talking to each other. Food merchants, item merchants. And I was going around asking, what had happened to my wallet and phone. And these two fairly large individuals approached me. They were between 8 and 10 feet tall. Had an Egyptian look to them, and had braided hair up around a slightly bigger head. I knew they were Orion looking when I saw them. And they had a crooked nose, like extreme crooked nose, almost like a bird. And they had the Akhenaten shaped body. And they had Egyptian wear on, like their shorts. They had like we would wear shorts, but only it was in the Egyptian style. And their faces were slightly blurred, which denoted interdimensional of some sort, or some kind of energy interference of some sort between me and them. And they're like, "Hey, we can help you. You can sell these things, and we can and you can actually get money to get home and all this other stuff." Well, and they were speaking with an accent. You could tell they were like Middle Eastern, Egyptian or African or something like that. They had the skin color, they had the look, and they had the accent like this. That's how they talk. Well, they handed me like dozens and dozens of strings of looked like beads, and they were very happy at first to hand them to me. And normally I would say don't take things in dream time, but I felt the urgency to have these. And some were gold colored, some were blue, some were red, some were yellow, some were green, like different shapes, different sizes, like you'd expect from glass, like African trade bead type things, and clear. And they all had liquid in them. And I put them around my neck, and I held some of them. And then I started to walk away and go back into the school building when I saw a door open. And this door looked more like one of those plexiglass government doors where they would slide a multitude of doors for biohazard situations, or it would be an entry for a biohazard type situation, or it would be more like energies portals, like how some of these SSP people would go in and out of an area where they were going in and out of a portal or testing some kind of interdimensional doorway. That's what that was. And there was a woman in there in a mask, like you see people walking around in the masks, that basically pulled the mask down and said I didn't belong in there, that only authorized personnel could be in there, and I backed off. Then the two beings, the large guys, they went, oh my God, they had touched me after that. They put a hand on my shoulder and they said, oh my God, oh no, you can't have those, and those meaning the beads. And I decided to run from them. And I ran down some stairs, and then I figured out that there were life forms in these beads, there were souls in these beads that they were trading. And there are soul trader species out there of different kinds. I've only run into a few of them. The grays being one of them too, where they put souls, like different species will take souls and bring them and put them in their own reincarnation grids. Like if they need a scientist, a warrior, a doctor, a poet, artist, whatever they want, they take it from here and bring that ghost or soul there. And what happened was when I yelled out that, oh, there's life forms in here, they're like, no, you don't get it, and they were just belligerent. So I decided to smash these, so several of these, and all but two, and I smashed all but two, and I felt compelled to take the there was this bright blue apple shaped one that was probably looked like a crab apple when it was fully grown, with the dimple on the top, and the dent on the top like a fruit would be, which denotes that these also are used for food, like soul food, earth, farm. Some of these look like fruits and vegetables. Well, and I had another one that was dark red, like blood red, and it was like a smaller marble sphere looking thing. And another example of this would be if anybody ever saw the show Babylon 5, they had soul thieves that were in that show, that when important people would die or civilizations would die, they go and collect them and put them in a sphere, but a glass sphere. And these were glass feeling, but I kept those two in my pockets. And as soon as those two big beings attempted to approach me, I woke up.
Which means you kept them in your pockets because?
I kept them in my pockets because those beings that were in them more than likely wanted to be released here on the earthly plane versus wherever the hell I was. The bulk of them just wanted to get out of there. And when I smashed all of them, I felt this like extreme feeling of like gratitude from who was in there. And also when I got back here, before all the chaos started, I felt a sense of gratitude from them again. It was more like thank you, like this feeling of like love and gratitude from who was released. And since that point in time, these people, I use that term lightly, have been harassing me, and now I can even see them. So it's like they don't look as tall, as menacing as they did there. Maybe that was more of like an illusion, but they look like Egyptian, like slaver type people, and they're holding like whips with beads the whips have beads on them, and with those with the liquid and stuff in them, and I believe also some of that liquid is monatomic gold, some of that's adrenochrome also as well. And I believe these particular Orion facsimiles also have been reported by government officials. Some people described taller beings with that description with the crook nose and with the braided hair around the head. Some have reported them. Um, and around us, there's at least a dozen around the house with these whips, like they're wanting to collect something, like they're owed. And like anybody, like mob that's owed money, sort of thing.
Or they may want those two things
Yes,
that you've hidden.
yes. I still feel them like in my energy field, these two orbs. So it's like whatever these are had an extreme importance above the rest of them.
So while you consider this, because again, we're doing this in a sense live, folks. So let him have a moment to consider what's going on. Let me tell you about what happened to me. So here, God Love Chris is supposed to report to a funeral. Well, guess what kind of dream that I had? So I actually realize I'm having a conversation with a being, and it has it's all about it being in consideration of Chris during my impending death. Okay, so my impending death, and so there was this negotiation kind of going on, kind of matter of fact, about the fact that no, it would be good that he wasn't alone. When I go, I'm going to be here and then I'm gone. Meaning, massive heart attack at that second, out of the blue, massive stroke, massive aneurysm, something gone. They're gone. But it's so traumatic, I guess, for the people that are left here. It would be best that Chris wasn't alone. So it was like this conversation of doing it when we're someplace else around people that we know. Okay, so during conference, whatever, just something that's going to occur like that, in that way, in consideration, so that he's not alone having to deal with the effects of something so traumatic just happening. And then I kind of, it's kind of funny because then I kind of, let's say, in a sense, really wake up in the middle of this conversation, and I'm like, yes, and that's where, how I want it to be, this, that, and the other, all is fine. And then I gain control of the conversation, basically saying, when it is time for me to go, because they're like, now, it's time for you to go. You need to go ahead and make these arrangements. And I'm like, when it's time for me to go, maybe 40 years from now, whatever. And so basically the bottom line is that, I revoke, there is no agreement. There is no agreement. I kind of play along a little bit, and it's like, no, this is not going to occur. This is not going to occur now. I don't even know what you're talking about. It's not, but no, it'd be nice if this, I still want to be here, and then I want to be gone. I don't want to have any lingering anything, and everything. So that's fine conversation, but it's not going to go down. And then basically, I kind of, again, kind of the same, kind of, let's say, fall back to sleep for a second. And then I hear myself saying my current age. And then I'm like, no, it's like being put back to sleep again to rehab the conversation. And then I wake up again, basically up like, absolutely not. No, this is not occurring. This is not occurring now. There is no agreement, blah, blah, blah. And then what I see, if you can imagine, is this being who, to me, again, kind of looks like Orion Gray. So I'm only seeing this being basically from the head, chest up, like, seeing I always say the Wizard of Oz, where you just see the big face kind of thing. It's kind of like that. But then distance is put between me and this being, almost in like a tunnel, distancing between now this being who's, backing up, let's say. But what I see, what I'm actually seeing now, is a lot of people, and just lots of people, these are now all humans like us, walking towards that being, just walking. There's no fear, there's no anger, there's no upset, they're just walking towards it. And then when I see someone get to it, it's like he has a slight conversation with it. Then all of a sudden, I see this person now sitting in a beach chair with an umbrella, basically been being floated off as if to say, oh, this is the heaven you want? Okay, let's put you into this little
false
illusion.
heaven. Yeah, they're
this kind of
false heaven, yeah.
Right? So I'm like, this, basically I'm like, I'm like, good try, guys, but no. And, so this is what happens. And I was telling Chris, afterwards, I thought, again, now this is hypothesizing because we don't know. And I thought, well, it took a minute after we said our dreams, and I was like, wait a minute, this is the same thing. You have the experience, and then I have the side of how they're convincing souls that their time is up, but then they're capturing their souls.
They're getting people to agree that it's their time.
That it's their time.
And the person's like, oh yeah, you're an angel, you must be right.
And they're going to work with them. They're going to like, okay, we'll do this. Okay, we'll do that. Not realizing. So this kind of, let's call it again, tactic. And what I think, because, you've had this reoccurring, and I have a little bit too about this kind of impending death thing. Mm-hmm. It's been lingering for a little bit. So what I think actually that happens is that it's not like one attempt of conversation, you don't fall for it and we're gone. I think there is this kind of continual visitation that kind of gets people to the point of resignation. Well, this really must be what it is. But I'm also wondering about, if this were happening to people and this is what was going on, my wondering is, and my pondering and hypothesis is, I wonder that if this is more when people are getting that sense that their time is up.
Yeah.
That they have this sense that I know I'm going to die soon. The question being, is it because they've been harassed by these beings and a part of them is like, I know it's my time, or is this from the source side, but, or could it happen in both? I have no idea, but I'm just saying, it made a lot of sense, and it made a lot of sense for, obviously Chris was seeing potentially one side of the issue and I was in the other side of the issue as well. But it was definitely Orion's, definitely Orion Gray's. I say Orion Gray's because he kind of had the look of both. But, and then of course you had this is what they do with the soul and the soul energies and where they put them.
Around their own neck.
And then
and
trading and whatever, which we knew that happened. We actually knew this happened. We knew things were used for energy. We knew things were traded. We knew things were like that. But I think this was maybe a glimpse of us seeing what was really kind of done. And, how people become in agreement to maybe either one of two things: pass before their time, and or when it potentially is getting closer to their time, something else intercedes to get you to go a different path rather than, going out of the reincarnation cycle or in that process. So, now that you've had a chance to look at it, do you know what the two orbs are, why are they just souls that want to be here? Or is there something more about that? Or
they're souls that didn't want to leave to begin with. It's like, okay, how can I put it? It's a download they're giving me, like what you were experiencing. Also, I've seen this on shows too about ghosts and afterlife and everything as well. Where don't you dare take it out of my head. They don't want this said, this specific part said. Where I believe they pose as angels, which Greys do. They do that a lot for ghosts in graveyards. They'll say, "Oh, the angel is going to take you somewhere," or the angel is telling you to stay here or stay in a particular location. That's why some ghosts don't leave, because they're ordered to be there. In this has to do with a very specific, finite little bit of consent that is going on. and they need this specific race needs this. When you believe you're going to die, it goes back to that old phrase, when a man believes he's going to die or is convinced he's going to die, he'll find every way to make it possible. And it goes back to this, where, say, you feel your time is up, or people that are scared of COVID going on, any of these things, and these beings seem to be out more in force because of this actually taking place too. And these energies happen to be ripe for them to pray. And I believe they are convincing people they're going to die, and then that person gives consent in some way or another. It could be in the dream state, like what you saw me be around, or through a ritual conjuring and drawing some in. I believe I was seeing two different species, but I was seeing the same purpose. Some kind of energy soul harvesting of some sort, where those beings would go into the person and take the place of, or you have these slaver types that wear this around their necks and trade them to other species to go into their own reincarnation cycles. And I believe the crux is this person gave, or people gave consent, like they were trying to get you to ground your age now. Mm-hmm. Meaning at the moment, right. Since they can only operate in the moment. But there's a very prime example, and I saw this on the show. I'm not going to mention the show or the people in it, even though this is a Patreon thing. I'm not going to mention this, but just know this was a show that was about afterlife. And I'll mention the scenario because each part of this scenario is crucial to how these beings operate, or beings like them operate. And I believe these beings specifically were operating in this particular scenario as well. This woman, when her son was born, was told by angels in a dream that on his 18th birthday, or when he was 18, he would die. And she had this swimming around in her head for years. He was a baby at the time that this was said. And talk about false prophetical type garbage. They're into this too. Well, he reaches his 18th birthday. If she had not said anything, there would have been no consent given, no judgment towards this person. I'm just stating the process. She told her son, well, I had a dream that said you were going to die around your 18th birthday. One half of the consent was her telling him, and since he was over the 16 mark, meaning more than what she could do revocations and or invocations for him acknowledging, nodding, all it took was a nod, the word yes, any of those things, even acknowledging what the parents said when, yeah, okay. Even if it was in extreme skepticism, he just sealed his coffin, basically, by doing that. This is how these beings operate. They will go on, they're predators. They will go on anything, just like, say you have a bounty hunter looking for bounties, or a repo man looking for a car that's not been paid for, or what have you. Kind of in a similar capacity. These guys are like repo people or bounty hunter mixing. That's a mix. What happened was, shortly thereafter, he died in his sleep. I'm saying the levels of consent that were given. It was, think of it like the scientific method also, where done once, confirm it, done twice, gone. And think of it kind of like that, repeating. Basically, the story was told, he acknowledged, died. Beings like this, they are not angels. Well, I suppose you could say in the mythology they are. But they are not for your highest good. Let me rephrase that. They are not for the highest good of those channeling them or seeing them in dreams. They are predators. They are basically trying to sell you something. They are trying. No true angelic being or what people regard as angelic being are going to give messages like, oh, you're going to die. Oh, giving the feeling of, oh, your time is up. It's coming up so quickly. No. These are predators. Think of them as almost like a sexual predator, like the ones on the other side with those soul-eating type ones. I believe these two species are in collusion along with the Greys and other Orion factions, and they trade through the Orions, get approval through the Orions. This is how I believe this is going on, because obviously these guys have some kind of Orion DNA like humans do, but I don't believe they're 100% like second generation or first generation Orion or pretty boy Orion. I don't believe they're exactly that. These guys are more like how if you had somebody building a pyramid and you'd have some like Egyptian whipping the Hebrew slave sort of thing. That's kind of how these guys remind me of. And but just know that you get any prophetical messages, don't just nod to it and go, oh, that's wonderful. It's not wonderful. Not with a capital N-O-T. Not wonderful. This is a trick. It's a very old trick, and it's a trick that needs to be ousted more and more. Ghosts should not be kept in graveyards. Rituals should not be done in graveyards unless they're of a loving, balanced nature where you're releasing and cleansing, like sagings, doing what I do, going around and helping release things, release ghosts. Graveyards are used more like how we would regard cold food storage. It's like where if they can't take ghosts right away, they'll pack them into an area like we would a refrigerator or something. That's how beings like this regard places like that. We would regard them as holy, folks. They're just stones. They're just stones. The places are I mean, they have a certain ambiance to them, but for the most part, these places are being used by creatures like this, and variations of different races for the same interest. These are just two of these species, along with like groups like the Lancaneers, which are another Orion derivative, Greys themselves, angelic form types, basically anything that can soul harvest, Grim Reaper looking Greys, all of them. And even that are interested in this, reptilians, Draco, any of them. But these specific ones, these ones are slightly baffling me. They have an extreme vested interest in me. Like they believe that I owe them money. Like they even said that they regarded those orbs as currency. Like I just robbed their bank or something and burned their cash. And that's how they're regarding it. Even some species will regard souls as fuel for spaceships. I found out soul shard type energy. It has a wide variety of uses in the etheric and the mechanical. So now we're breaking it down to these two orbs.
Mm-hmm. Well, you don't know them crap because they handed them to you. They lose in any court of law, so there is
yeah.
no recompense going to happen here, people.
And I just heard Isaac going, "Damn right, they're not going to get those." And
no, none of that's going to happen, guys.
But they feel like I just robbed their vault.
No, you just handed him the vault.
Because see, they recognized my signet there when I was there. When they touched me, they recognized my true signet. That is why the driver's license, wallet, and phone were hidden from me in that scenario. Somebody out there, either Earth source or some benevolent source or benevolent force out there, hid my signet from them long enough for me to get the information and the soul energy from them, so that they were ousted. Kind of like I stumbled across a like underground, like black market crap, or like a meth lab or heroin lab or crack or something like that. It's regarded along those same lines. And some aliens will go to battlefields and do these things too. Like I caught some Greys and Archontic forces in Burwell, Nebraska one time doing the same with ghosts there. It's like I just stumbled across the meth lab. That's how they regarded me, is like, oh crap, he's going to call the authorities.
So, I think right now you just need to focus on them. So they're grounded here, they're standing here right around us or whatever, meaning now you're within the laws of being called out and basically audited for your bad behavior. I would do something. I don't think I'd do anything with the orbs until you actually get rid of them.
They keep preaching that this is common practice, that there are no real laws against it.
Okay, so now,
Uh,
now we actually ask Source to audit this because we
the,
think it's wrong.
yeah, and I believe it's wrong. So the true benevolent source creator, and since they're standing on the earth, to the true benevolent earth mother and the true benevolent verses, I asked an audit of these beings at this time, an audit and deletion of codes where necessary. And I also asked that this audit identify this species by name and by purpose. I'm seeing the earth is actually scanning them from underneath. I'm seeing like this blue, like, and just scanning over them since the request was made. Oh, the earth doesn't care for these guys at all. It scanned their genetic makeup and everything. And it looks like I was dealing with the same species in that scenario, the ones that would go into people with the blue, with the dimples. It seems their energy underneath their physical visage looks like that. So it's the same race. Well, if you're not your enemy, you won't hesitate to accept an audit from True Benevolent Source Creator and the True Benevolent Verses and the True Benevolent Earth Mother. Do you all of you, and there's more than 12 of you here, with whips in your hands and weapons and clubs and everything, do you accept this audit from True Benevolent Source Creator and all of the aforementioned sources? Yes, of course. Okay. Nothing seems to be happening to them, which means they passed an audit, but they're being genuine, but it doesn't mean they're not doing wrong. So there's still something else that needs to be done. Folks, this is like with Jermaine. He was being genuine in what he was saying, but he just omitted information. So therefore, he passed an audit. I believe these beings are omitting something, not saying something. Therefore, they are passing an audit. It's when they lie is when they don't pass an audit. So, and they're not being genuine in their appearance and to themselves and to everybody else. They're being genuine, and they're being adamant that they're being genuine. So, what exactly are you omitting? Maybe the souls and the orbs know. But they what? Well, I know that there's soul tagging that goes on as well. Yes. That's why I was hidden. But why bring you two back, or you two groupings back, of two completely different kinds? And the fact that those orbs were shaped like food, of course, that's farming. That's obvious what that is. So what is the thing that they omitted that either they're hiding or they just don't care to mention it? That more coercion is taking place than what they're being genuine on. They're basically whipping people on their back and stealing bits of adrenochrome, stealing bits of monatomic gold, and shards of energy otherwise from people by whipping them, and those orbs that are on the whips are collecting this energy. Like they're going,
But what about the soul tagging? So what does that mean? Does that mean that people, they're like their property? Is this one of those, you've been tagged as my cattle and I'm going to use you over and over again? What does that mean?
Yes, that's exactly what that means. But many species can. What soul tagging is, that the Orions, for instance, can tag somebody and trace their signet across many lifetimes. This seems to be a little bit more direct than just a lifetime one. This seems to be like you've just been earmarked as a cattle in current times.
So it was interesting because I will tell you, when the Earth Mother was scanning them, she scanned me too. Did she scan you?
Yeah.
So I find it interesting because I'm like, oh, well, let me give you your tag back, because I don't agree to wearing a tag anymore. If this is what this is about.
Oh, and it's around the ankles, also in the necks of people, like back in here. And what race are you? I want you to identify yourselves now. You are the what? The is that an Egyptian word? Can you translate that in English? They call themselves the Haroosh, Harush, Harish. That sounds Egyptian or Middle Eastern to me, or Sumerian or something like that. Harush, Harish. But what's that translate to into our English, please, for the viewers? Since you've already been caught, you might as well just say the rest of it. Harush stands for those that gather. Those that gather. Does that denote slave? But what would it be in like a single word? Just farmer. Farmer. That's all they're giving me. Okay. And farmer trader. Like you'd see somebody in the Middle Eastern countries trading coins or trading food or kind of like that. Okay, there's still got to be something left here. Okay, and then did we consent to have those tags in any way, a nod or anything? Not really. Okay, I guess that deserves an audit in and of itself because you require that consent. So let's see. Or is it a family? Is this a family thing? Just us. Okay, that's different than the normal Orion consent where a family member can do it too. That's a little different, unless you're lying to me. No, you would have poof vanished if you had lied to me. So okay. So I asked True Benevolent Source Creator, True Benevolent Earth Mother, and the True Benevolent Verses to please audit any tags that these entities and these beings, the Haroosh, have tagged us at this moment in time without our consent and or stolen energy from us through that whipping process. But there is a reason, though, that I took these two orbs, which tells me that they belong to us. This tells me what's in these belong to us and our immediate family and friends. No? Then why was I compelled to take just those two? No, I didn't think they were just pretty. Now stop it. All right, let's see. Then I'll ask them. Break them open. Okay. Do the apple looking one first. Huh. All right. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. This goes back to something in a session I did yesterday. I recognize the energy output of the smashing of that. Now, I'm begging people not to co-create this next part because this has to do with the future. Anybody seeing this, do not co-create this because this is a shadow of a future that obviously these beings were involved with. This was set in the year 2023, and I saw a weapon being used on like in a part of Canada that burst certain energy flares out of it, very much like those beings did inside the dream in that tomb, where it would burst, they burst out, and then it would go down in someone. This is what this looked like. There was some kind of soul energy, and it would go into people and make them emit a form of radiation, and therefore the people themselves were the radiation emitters, and created almost like a fallout, like a nuclear bomb went off. I mean, the bomb itself did destruction too, but it was. This is the same energy. This is the same identified energy signature, and they're gathering this for what purpose? We're sitting in 2020 at the moment. This was set in 2023. What were you planning? You've been caught. Your timeline is no more. What were you planning? People would not have seen those explosives. It would have been in the etherical completely. Yes.
Just a large harvest. That would be the only logical.
But a slow one, meaning the people over time are absorbing some kind of radiation and then enough to send these souls inside of people, is what you're saying, to be able to do an even greater farming. Like how cows are packed through full of antibiotics, sort of thing, or pigs, like on farms. Yes. So you're saying that has to do with a soul harvest? Yes. Mass one. Okay. Also, the whole thing with the COVID thing going on where everybody's blaming China. I saw another aspect of it was 2023 where part of China was bombed by the European League of European Nations, and they'd had enough of China and bombed the crap out of them. And whatever was going on now was escalating to that harvest, which isn't going to happen. It's a never-word timeline as far as I'm concerned. So once you've been ousted, this seems to be the third component to this. So you can't just say you're doing your job. You need to keep going. Keep going. Put the whips down. I don't even want to see you holding them. Okay.
Why have you chosen the Egyptian look?
That's where they're from.
What do you mean that's where they're from?
They were created.
Or, I mean, I don't know what you're saying. Are you saying in the where they live, that's what's going on, or their creation occurred during the Egyptian time and they were used here? What are you saying?
Yeah, they were created in ancient Egypt and they were used here, but for what purpose though? Was this the post-Osiris period?
It was the self-farming. I'm sure, I mean, it makes sense it's a part of the self-farming apparatus.
Oh, the self-farming, like reinforcing certain beliefs, like what's happening now with this new race war crap that's going on, and also with the COVID-19 stuff. It's like they're doing the self-farming. People fight amongst themselves. People get into these belief systems, and they're doing the farming for them. It's like having a hydroponics garden where it waters itself. Is that what you're trying to say? From that time, just like what the Cabal did when they came out of Egypt, they knew that the whole society would farm itself and war itself, and they would have to do very little except spark the match every now and again. Is that what you're saying? Yes. You know you don't have to do that anymore, right? And why are you doing these in 3-year integral periods? Just like we heard someone online saying, "Oh, there would be a plague in 3 years," and that was in 2017. Boom, we have COVID. What's with this 3-year cyclical period? Why 2023? Approaching that threshold. Why? Why squeeze people so tight in these periods? Even though it is a point of evolution, as we've said. Why? It's like wringing a wash rag. Why does it have to be this bad? You got silent when I said that. It doesn't have to be at all, does it? You got clam lip real fast when I started talking about that. So, people are evolving out of this, yet you still continue to do it. Are you looped into a contract? Yes or no? Yes.
They're not, I don't, you see, I know you like that stuff. I have a hard time buying all that crap because, they are hooked at the hip with the Orions.
Mm-hmm. They have Orion codes.
I don't think they have a problem with what they do at all. I don't think there is any remorse.
I don't. I think they're BS
so that's
right
why
now.
I'm like,
they're trying to play the role of the underdog right now, but I believe they have solely Orion coding right now. So it's like
I don't buy. It's like
I don't buy this that they're the slaves that were created as the whipping boys. No.
They may have been, they may have been a creation because they were prolific geneticists. That could be, but to say that they have grown a conscience? No, 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 no. I just don't see that.
Okay, let's just let's smash this red orb and see what it comes out as. Okay, this is that's showing me different blood types. So meaning you're able to control different blood types, which I knew that already. Different family lineages. Uh, so. And O negative is one of them. I can see that, but I'm seeing other blood types people don't know about in here too. Seeing the RH factor in there too, but it's you're up to something else here other than what I've been shown. The harvest is very specific that you're trying to attempt here. You are refining it down to only finite families and finite blood types. Even though I'm seeing all the blood types, it's just like some are labeled not as big a priority. You're calculating something in your heads even as I'm talking. You're trying to calculate how you're going to get out of this.
Well, I think, what I think is everyone's so tired. So what goes through my head, even with the COVID, they see that the COVID is really a blood issue.
Mm-hmm.
And, basically people are all walking around kind of anemic right now.
Yep.
But,
you're draining energy out of the people's blood cells.
I think so. I think it's basically another mechanism that they're using to drain the crap out of people, make them tired and then when they get tired, when you get tired, you just want it over. So I would imagine draining, making a person, for example, in this whole process, making a person tired, making life a little bit harder. It's harder to get through your work day. It's harder to get to whatever you're in that kind of anemic state.
Mm-hmm.
Some being comes to you and says, it's time for it to give. And you're like, yeah, I kind of get it.
You get beat up enough, you want to die, and also I'm being showed something about sugar as well, mm-hmm. like blood sugar, like diabetic states, mm-hmm. and iron deficiencies, and mm-hmm. what is it you're saying about refined sugar? I know that's a poison to an extent, even though we're still all guilty of eating this stuff, but you're doing something with that to prolong the harvesting. Like it does something to allow more of a boost, like giving plants plant food or something. It's like
it gives a short-term boost.
A short-term boost where they can go, and then the person's drained. Caffeine. Okay, these are. Oh, okay. You didn't want me to see that one. See, when you start aiming information my way, I see everything you're planning. So whatever this harvest is that you were planning along with the Draco and other Orions, it's not happening. So I don't get definite year dates like that unless something is up. So that's 2 sessions now I've seen that 2023 prep.
And you're not prophesizing anything. You're
no.
just saying you're seeing it. To me, it's just like the timelines that they would like to see happen through a Mandela effect versus, everyone else. So, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
And that should be everyone's reaction who hears this. It's just the simple.
Like the war with China that supposedly is going on underground, which I did find out that some of our troops are fighting Chinese troops. The Chinese were duped too through this whole process. This stuff is not going to happen. It's going to just fizzle out. And is already in the process of fizzling out.
And you want to know why? Because we said so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what, again, that whole attitude of no.
Yeah.
Simply no.
And also, I feel that, no wonder I've been feeling pricks on the back of my head and my back. That's that whip. It's like, think of the old style whips that like also the Inquisition whips that had like the spikes and stuff in them. That's how these orbs are. They grab soul energy. That's not the only method. I've seen staffs with orbs sitting on the top of them, glass looking orbs. like the whole Chintamaniya stone looking thing. I've seen that. I've seen Orions holding black orbs that they absorb things in, and those end up being like the orbs the harvester goo like things that we see as well sometimes. And then of course the gray inside that deteriorates a whole bit that we've said before. But I've seen different variations on a theme. Angel holding a staff that looks all holy and everything. Seen it with the hook thing around it and everything. Seen it. Uh, this is just a variation on that theme, a different, slightly look to it, but it's the same crap. So people do not fall for this. And I can see some wind like or current coming in or flood coming in and grabbing these beings. When I smashed those two orbs, they were more conceptual. There's those souls in it that wanted us to see these things. Like there had been a blood harvest that went on and a regular energy harvest that went on. They were the two distinct type of things that are going on that they wanted seen. And I'm seeing also meat harvest. That would be for Draco and energy as well. But I'm getting an immense like focus from all these souls that have been set free on these beings, and it's almost like they're picking them apart. It's almost like these beings themselves had souls in them too, and they're being ripped apart.
So can you hear Isaac? Is Isaac?
Yes.
So Isaac, let's talk a little bit about the soul tax, because I'm preoccupied with the soul tax right now, because I feel there's been some nefarious duping going on with these soul tags. Like, for example, they're maybe put on to people, but there had to be some sort of reinforcement for them to continue doing it and continue, and people are continually allowing themselves to be tagged. So I guess what I like to try to figure out is how how do you get out of that? So for example, this is what I would like to see happen. I don't know if it can happen. I'm just throwing it out there. I would like to say, here's your tag. I don't know how you kept doing this to me, but apparently you did. I just got to let go of it. But I'm giving you your tag back, and thus you are now, my energy signature is now invisible to you. You're not going to bother me anymore, because the answer is no. Here's your tag back. So you don't have the right to come back and haunt me anymore, kind of thing. But so I just feel there needs to be more conversation on the tag.
Yeah, there's different kinds of tags. There's the soul tag, the Orions tag souls with across multiple lifetimes to get them embroiled in the same types of situations in order to farm the energy that way. This seems fairly different from these beings, and these beings are being disintegrated from the inside out. They're like melting. So whatever these other souls have done to them, they're melting, like the witch and the wicked, in Wizard of Oz. Like she gets doused in water. That's kind of what's happening to these guys, and they're just like smoke on the ground, a pile of chemicals or something, and their souls leaving there. But with the tagging themselves, okay, I'm asking these benevolent souls, what is involved with this specific tag? There's a blood tag, and I know there are also tags within the organs and stuff. I had already gone through that. At one time, there's like barcodes on the insides of the organs and all that. I went through that with a friend of ours in his read and got rid of like these different barcodes and such. There's tattoo tags that have shown up that reptilians like to use, that they're invisible on the forearms, and like sometimes there's signets on the inner thigh that means like ownership by a group of reptilians or something like that. But this specific one is a blood tag, you said. Yes. How does it manifest itself? Through weakness, yes. But when and how is it put in? Through touch? Because I know some grays can touch people and put implants in, like the ET phone home crap. It's like this, like with the glowing finger. I've seen that crap before too. But this one specifically is just by touch, just like this, or like this. Yes. So what manner of tag is this? Is it etherical or is it mechanical? both. And it can be placed anywhere in the body and then go to where it needs to go. But this is more like in the blood. And I know.
But when you say in the blood, besides type A, B, O, RH, whatever, it seems to be, you say blood, but do you really mean blood type or do you mean genetics that's in your
There's
blood?
been tagging in the DNA as well.
So
like
I know I'm being very specific, but I just want to make sure that I understand.
Blood type itself and what? It can convert blood types as well in somebody. It can make them switch blood types if need be. Like if they were short on a particular one or something, they can flip somebody else in a pinch. But it ends up killing the person instantly. And you're saying another type of tagging and harvesting causes the whole spontaneous human combustion thing too. Okay. Oh, the compression. I always used to think it was the compression of the energies, but you're saying it's a harvest. Absolutely. Okay. And it was the beginnings of, like, say, this type of thing where somebody just really and erupted. Okay. That's what I was seeing, why the corpses were all burnt in that scenario. So, and that's why these guys are being turned to ash now. It's the same concept. They're being harvested of all these souls all over, no matter where they are. They're just going to go. But this particular tag, they tag the blood. And I have seen blood tags before that different races have created, barcoding on the blood cells themselves. Is this similar to that? Yes, it is. But it's a different race that has created these. Yes, it is. Oh, okay. Are those tags disappearing along with this race? Yes, they are. Okay, just like there was an episode of Doctor Who where he runs across this race that were tagging the different blood types and everything too, and blood control, where people could be controlled through a signal through their blood too. Does that happen as well? Yes. And it's the blood specifically. Yes. Okay. That they can control anybody with a particular blood type, maybe to come to them somewhere. Okay, or they come to them kind of like a beacon. Yes. But how does that equate to the energy, though, the energy field, where they're whipping the person and getting the shards from? That doesn't seem to equate. It's one thing, as far as you can tell. Okay. Draining energy, draining the blood, same difference. Because the energy's within the blood and within the genetic code. So it would have to have an alteration to the genetic code. You're saying that the blood thing is just one component, and then there's genetic tagging as well, you're marking. Okay. How did these creatures disintegrate? Why did they turn into just like a smoking, smoldering pile of crap? Yeah, I know you did that. Yes, I know you're proud of that. But you freed them somehow. Like, they must have those necklaces on. You're saying, even though they have to trade them too. Are you saying that's more like grounding? Are you saying that's more like grounding? Yes, but there's another component. Like you pulled a plug and it just went. No, not pull the plug. Similar, it's more like you release the souls and that body couldn't be cohesive. That's kind of how Draco are. When you cut the head off, the soul shards release from them. Like in Highlander where the head comes off and the quickening happens kind of thing. Yeah, it's like that. Yes. Okay. So there's another component to this breakdown process, though. There's like trillions of you just going off in some place. This isn't just like a normal like soul code repository where sometimes the Orions would store in like batteries. This is something different. It was stored to trade and stored to ground. So you're saying the frequency they were kept in was grounding. kind of like how the 5G frequency keeps a grounding taking place for people in the 3D, is what you're saying. Similar. So is it important that we even know the rest of this process, or the fact that it's been demolished or is being demolished right now? Oh, you're saying grounded into the Akashic. Okay, got it. Okay. Ground this information, the true benevolent earthly Akashic and the true benevolent galactic Akashic of this moment in time, under the supervision of true benevolent source creator, true benevolent earth mother, and the true benevolent verses, mirrored across time and space where appropriate it is forever so in all moments and all sessions. This is just another type of soul harvesting. And will this affect any of the souls that they took to all the other planetoids and traded to other races? Will that create a quantum connection back to them as well? Yes? Okay. Kind of. Meaning there are tags in the way of that happening too for people that have gone into other people's incarnation cycles, is what you're saying. They put a tag also in the way, in the blood of those races as well, so that they couldn't be retrieved. Like okay, now this belongs to this biosphere, this belongs to this biosphere. It takes on, by being born there, it takes on, it's not just, okay, by that soul entering that coat, physical coat there, it takes on that signature of that planetoid, where that species exists. Like a spatial signature of another planet, or a biosphere signature of another planet. So therefore, they are legitimately part of that race then. But that soul's still gaining codes in different places, so there is a positive aspect to that. Okay. Not that you guys have completely seen it that way, but these these are like ghosts that have almost no form now. But these were human at one time, over centuries. And so now you're able to go where you want. So can you go to these places that have these different souls, these different planets, and maybe untag them? Yeah.
If they want to.
Yeah. If they want to, maybe. Yeah.
Really? I'm like, come on.
But you can tell they were human at one time. But so is this done with this particular race now? They were called the Haroosh. Yes, but they're not the only soul harvesting races out there yet. Okay. But what's a message you want to give to people before you guys pass on to the spirit world? I can see you starting to drift now. Don't believe in false heaven. Don't believe in guides coming to retrieve you when you die. Don't believe in graves. Don't focus on the people being gone permanently, like a final goodbye sort of thing. They're never gone. But be aware there are predators that will try to sit you into a false heaven and try to convince you that maybe a significant other is going to die, even show you a scenario in your head by which this will happen, and see that, oh, life goes on without them. This happened to all of you, didn't it? Okay. And this eventually ends in the same end, no matter what race is doing this. Yes. For couples, it's you see like I've been seeing like Joanna passes away, and then and then I hear myself in that false time frame saying, oh, there's now this can happen and this can happen. Move people into this house, do this, sell this, do this. You know, weird like scenarios as you're working things out, like how you would logically work things out if a situation like that took place. That's how that's been going through my head, and this is what happened to them too, but a long time ago. Aha, okay. They're using the term burying the person before they're gone. Don't do it. Thus, they're an Orion agent, then do it. Oh, they're laughing about that. Okay, but
So answer me this. This is just out of curiosity, because you know, uh, if you were in a situation where, and all of us are, get into a situation where people are passing, because
mhm.
it happens. It happens. It's going to happen to everyone. You come in, you're going to go out. But you have the family around you, your friends around you, you have different people around. Now, this isn't about, people may not know if this is a current scenario going on, what you're talking about. Or it could be just their time, right? It doesn't, the death process, the dying, the passing, the leaving the body is going to happen. So, what can a person do, be it family, friend, a nurse, okay? What can someone do on their behalf to try to ensure that whatever's happening is actually for their highest good and not a tricksty? So, I
Always have family around you when you pass. Do not do last rites.
well, that explains something that I experienced in saying that. But
Because
can
last
you?
rites means you're giving up your rights here and they're taking you somewhere else. Last rites, you're giving up rights. You're consenting to be taken.
So, will it be meaningful at all, whether or not you're not a family member, you're just a friend, to actually, reach out maybe to their higher self or whatever, or request that I guess it's like, in some way, when Chris reaches out to someone's higher self, or picking the perceived higher self, he's trying to get some sort of agreement for them to kind of see that you may not want this. And would you want benevolence for your highest good? Period. Do you want that? Do you want that? I'm hoping that maybe some agreement there would then cause a change in this aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Is that even possible?
Yes.
Can that be successful?
And they're saying not to denigrate priests or anything like that. They're being very adamant about this. These are souls of people that have gone through last rites as well. Do not let them do the ceremony of last rites. No. They're leaning heavily on that one.
No, I get it, because if you ever listen, to what's going on or whatever, you're turning your soul over to something else.
Yes.
It's very well said in the last rites ceremony. I get that. And, I guess what I'm trying to say is that if you're someone standing by, or of someone right now, a family, a friend, someone, whatever, people think they can't do anything. But I can be sitting right here hearing about a friend or family member or whatever in the other side of the country, and still be able to reach out, in a sense, to them, let's say their perceived higher self or whatever, to, talk to them. Mm-hmm. And basically say, no matter what, request benevolence for your highest good, benevolence for your highest good. My curiosity is that a mechanism that actually can prevent some of this? If someone who thinks they're helpless, you're not helpless. You may not be right next to somebody. So that's what I want to know. Can it affect a more positive outcome if someone takes the time to do that?
Yes, it can. And this is also why they're separating people from their families. And this COVID thing has nothing to do with the virus thing. It has to do with solely energy harvesting. Separating them from people and love and contact, and keeping them in that, not only in the fear state, but alone. They'll consent to anything just to get out of that scenario. And anybody really would. But again, this goes back to, if you are in a situation like that, do not consent to anything they want to give you, even if it results in your death. And they are adamant on this as well. Do not consent, because that's also when people in the medical profession are doing this, they are participating in this process, in this harvesting process, and they don't realize it.
So again, and you're not helpless being with family members or whatever that are not currently present. Spend your time reaching out, mm-hmm. and having these communications and reaching out for their higher self to try to get an agreement that no matter what, They could be being tricked, but that it's for benevolence for their highest good. Ask for benevolence benevolence to surround them, and try to talk to them in that way to, again, on a soul level, and they're not alone. How many people are actually doing what I'm saying? How many people are actually, even though, oh, my poor family member's there, but what are you doing to reach out to communicate with them? You're like, I can't talk to them. You've told yourself now you can't talk to them.
Yes.
We're trying to tell you you can talk to them, in a very important way. You can talk to them. You should be talking to them, and you should be actually reaching out to anyone you care for, to assume in that transition moment of going from here to there, that it's done in the highest of benevolence for their highest good. So that's what I'm trying to bring out, that a lot of people are resigned that there's nothing they can do. They're feeling, and I'm like, you are not helpless. Do not resign yourself that way. If a person cannot do this, that's great. However, when you get put into a situation where you are really scared and you are really alone, you oftentimes, again, and we're not talking that a nurse is having you sign a note, you're going to give your soul away. We're saying that, tricksters can come in basically and potentially utilize that vulnerability and make it appear now that it's time to go to your fake heaven.
And they've also caused that vulnerability as well. So it's like the devil's contract.
Right.
Much,
so, but again, I personally believe there can be a counteraction to that, with family and friends putting out the communication energy to their family and loved ones. It may be their time to go. Okay, so people don't live forever, and it may be their time to go, but don't you still want to put out that energy that it's benevolence for their highest good, whatever, in that transition time? So don't say that you're helpless and that there's no communication and there's nothing you can do.
Because there is, on an energetic telepathic level.
Absolutely, absolutely. And basically, can you imagine all this family now surrounding them with that energy? Do you think really that those potential contracts are really going to outweigh if a whole family puts that energy towards them of support and love and benevolence for their highest good? Do you really think that the other is going to be greater? I actually don't. It's just not even in my realm that type of energy is stronger than a group of people putting forth that other, which to me is, again, the one area of what we call power prayer, when you see people's tumors shrink or whatever, because a whole group of people is putting together that energy towards them, of seeing them healed, of seeing them whole, of seeing them in benevolence. And that's how you should be thinking of anyone who is in the potential process of potentially dying. I say potentially because some people still recover, and and all of these other issues when they're isolated and alone. So do not feel you're not empowered in that way to intercede.
Yes, you're completely empowered in that way to intercede, even if you are separated from them. And they're going back to the whole consent thing. By thinking you're helpless, you're actually consenting to the rest of it. Very much like I said in the beginning with that woman who had these angels say in her dream, oh, your son's going to die when he's 18. That by believing that and believing, that it was fact, you just consented. And it took the other half of the consent from him since he was 18. And it was a double whammy. So it's these beliefs that are getting in the way. It's these thoughts that are getting in the way. Don't believe it. Don't you believe it? Because these are ways that they're tricking people. And are these things going on like in places like New York and all this, a part of this process? Like, and they just keep re-emphasizing it. I believe some of these souls are some of the people that died in that too. I'm thinking a chunk of them are them. They were grabbed immediately by these beings with almost no delay in there. They were yoink, and I just keep seeing one of them, the one that's at the forefront closest to the window here, is actually saying they were an older, or male or female. I'm sorry, I can't tell. Female. was like an old grandmother or something. And like, can I see what you looked like before, please? Thank you. An older lady, and had caught COVID-19, and don't denigrate her family members. I didn't know.
No, no,
They rushed her to the hospital, and they put her in a coma. And there was a priest standing over her, even though this priest was. Wait a minute, was that a priest or was that one of these beings? It was a priest. The priests are allowed in there, but the families aren't.
yeah,
Okay, that's suspicious of in and of itself.
no, but
But
it's true.
the priest is not allowed to leave the floor. Okay, they practically live in that floor. Okay. And this is what she's saying. She sees the same guy, goes to all the different rooms. She's like, please don't denigrate the priest. He didn't know.
No, I think,
Like,
and that's the point. We're not trying to do all that. We're just trying to actually give more information to help people feel empowered, not disempowered. It's very important because we know, even though it gets frustrating because, you want people at this point to understand it all, that many decent, good people do not yet realize what is going on. And when they do, they're going to stop. But right now, again, people, there's so many things in this world that people are just becoming aware of how things have operated. The one positive thing about all of this is that many people just want to get back to normal. They're not afraid of this. And that's a really positive sign because it means that the techniques that are being used to scare everybody is not working on everybody. It's certainly working on some, but it is not working on everybody. And I think in a sense, there was a bit of surprise that it didn't work as well as they had originally thought. So again, we're not trying to put anyone down. We're not doing any of that. We're just actually trying to bring awareness and empowerment because you can really do way more than you think you can do. But and again, even quick in the dream time. So in both of our scenarios, we were, well, in a sense, let's say, woke up in the dream to really decide I'm not participating in this in the dream state. And so again, more and more people are learning that skill to kind of wake up within a dream to empower themselves. So we've said that was going to happen, and that people are going to start to share a similar experience. So that's going to happen as well. If you guys start discussing things, you may realize there's something about what's occurred that is very similar in everyone's dreams. So again, please don't take what we're saying in any other way than the way it's intentioned, which is only to provide you more information to empower you and have your understanding of how things are working and how they have worked, and then to empower you to help you understand that you're not, this is not your lot. You can do things to actually empower yourself and take more control of your life, more than you ever thought. And you don't have to actually even leave your home to do it. So very important concepts, but yeah, no, we're not putting anyone down.
Also, she's saying the name Harris keeps popping up, like last name. I'm not sure who this actually is. It's who, I don't know if it's the family name or if it was the doctor name or if it was the priest name. I don't know. That she was saying she heard a conversation before she lost consciousness about somebody named Harris being they okay. There's something else you wanted to know. They were literally talking about her as if she was dead, and she wasn't. She could hear them. And whoever this Harris person is was somebody going to come in and I don't know, clean something up, or I don't know if the name has any meaning to anybody, but she literally could hear them, physically could hear them. And again, this goes back: do not bury somebody before they've died. And And she's very adamant about that too. Do you want to give your name or not? No. Okay. Didn't want her family to actually hear this at some point. Okay. But that's okay. Saying that, but she's giving away the bad guy's name. There's somebody named Harris, and they're in New York, you're saying? Very well known. Very, you would say famous. Report, okay, I'm getting a download now. Reporting to be something they're not. Kind of like doctors I dealt with when I got hurt, that they were taken down as heroes and they're not. This is part of the hidden, like this is why some ghosts remain, because there's an injustice somewhere. So she's pointing out the bad guy. She's like, do not trust this man. He is he's a monster. He orders other beings around, other people around. He acts like he's a hero, but he's not. Okay, are you saying that he's done this to others? All of them during that crisis, or almost all of them. Says, is his last name Harris or his first name Harris? Last name. You know his first name. She doesn't know. That one of the well-known hospitals in New York, but she could hear these people telling to get Harris. Harris comes in and does something, and they're dead. And she's being very as accurate as she can be on this. Did you find anything? Oh, Harris, New York. Let's see. Is this a man?
Well, I don't know. There's plenty of people called Harris.
Yeah, because there's a Harris, New York. Is that where you lived? No.
No, it's a person.
It's a person. She's adamant this is a man. So
that's fine, because there's places called Harris all over the place. I'm just.
Can you be more specific to an individual that people would know? You're just not wanting me or her to get in trouble, are you? Okay. That will people that hear this know who exactly we are speaking of? Yes, they will. People that are around this person will know. Yes. She says, just know this person is a monster in the truest sense of the word. Okay, yeah, you're being very, very specific on that, at least. Let's see. But there's other. There's two others that she saw that were basically telling to go get him. It's like these people knew these people were going to die, and they knew to call this Harris. And that he would come in for the rest of this. He was like the final stage. They knew when they heard his name or saw him that this was done. But she was in a coma, but she could hear them.
Yeah, hearing's always the last thing to go.
She could see them kind of too. Like she had like this, like a partial eye open.
Mm-hmm.
And she was looking out one eye. She could see two, and she could hear them very clearly, like she was supposed to hear them. Like she came away with information. But this person, Harris, he's feared by some people. This is a man. I don't want to attribute like a legendary status to anybody, but it's like.
Well, it would seem to me that was in her hospital.
In her hospital.
So it means there's a Harris type figure in all of them.
Yes,
So, I mean, you don't want to give credit to an individual. There
but
apparently is a person in a particular position
in a hospital,
in
yeah,
a hospital in that position that their job function was true at end of life.
yes,
And so you just feel that the last name of that person in your hospital was Harris, that position is populated by somebody probably not good in all the hospitals, is what you're saying.
yes, somebody like him. But
Mhm.
the person she knew of was named Harris.
Right, in that particular
Mhm,
place.
mhm.
Right.
Like Dr. Harris, she will not tell me his first name either. She doesn't know, or she doesn't want to get us in trouble or something. But because we named him by first name.
Well, I don't think it matters. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
I don't think the name matters. I think what you're saying is there is, a person in these positions that may be a bit nefarious in their activities.
Mm-hmm. Extremely nefarious.
Okay. So I think that, you know, people have already been reporting beliefs like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
but others go along with it because they're concerned for their job, and that's what she's trying to say as well.
Right, it's where the morals have been skewed a bit. Harris is pretty probably responsible for some of the things that they're doing now that they would normally never consider. And so, he's convincing people it's all for the right reason.
It's their duty.
It's their duty to protect others. But again, so we're not trying to. Now there have always been nefarious doctors and nurses, people that consider themselves the angel of death. They've gotten in trouble. You guys have all heard about that. So we know it's in every. And you got good and bad people in every profession. We're not saying that. But what I will say is that there is plenty of very, very good people who are, involved in conversations where they really do feel in their heart of heart they're doing the best they can for the entire population. They do not know. They don't know all of this, and they really are trying to do things for the highest good. In their own hearts and in their own ways and in their own knowledge level currently. Mm-hmm. So again, I will not throw the baby out with the bathwater because, I just won't do it because it's not right to do that.
No, yeah, she said no one expects you to.
No, but I'm saying in general, the goal is to learn more, understand more, gain better understanding and better than control of your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And it looks like she's the last one that's moving on now. She was she was almost like a figurehead. All the others are moving on. Probably going to see that energy fluctuation all day because that's how many of them are moving on from here.
No, I was just going to say, so hopefully, hopefully you guys have found this helpful. This is literally, again, what we do. We sit around, we try to figure it all out to the best. I'm not saying we have this all figured out, not saying that at all.
Nope.
But there seems to be some, lately there seems to be, there's so much pressure in not trying to get certain pieces of information out that you almost have to do this in this manner of just talking and getting it out and going with it, or the pressure that's building to make you not do it becomes so overbearing that we've realized to just do it, and at least it gets something on the record and figure it out as you go kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and that's exactly what
that's what you guys are seeing now, and you're not seeing the polished at the end after it's all over stuff. So it's definitely getting lighter around here.
Yeah, and as she was disappearing, she just basically said, call her Evelyn.
Call her Evelyn.
Yeah. And so, yeah, she went on to the actual spirit world. So this was like a mass transition of soul energies. It's actually getting much lighter. See, this is why it's so important to get the information out about these different beings, because they're doing something nefarious that they were planning. That energy that's now transitioning would have been used as a weapon eventually in a few years' time. So if it's venting now, there's no possibility of that being used. So that's why I was being warned and building up to this point over those other sessions, what was being used here. And people, again, were being used against people. It was their own energies being used like a self-cycling sort of thing, even as a weapon, even as weaponry and as fuel. So that's what was going on there, and it's getting immensely lighter. So by leaps and bounds. So now that there's nobody here now, so yeah. So we can actually end this the Lifting's Guide to Galactic History. I'm going to have to debate whether this is Patreon or YouTube, because a lot more people are on the YouTube. So I'll give it some thought over the next couple of days and see where this actually ends up. So thank you, everybody, for watching this episode. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.